40% of Americans earning over $300,000 a year told Goldman Sachs in their 2025 survey that they live paycheck to paycheck. Root had to read that number 3 separate times before it actually registered. People earning triple the median American household income are telling banks, with a straight face, that one broken appliance away from financial crisis. The math, it turns out, has never actually worked. My name is Root. Root has spent a disproportionate amount of time reverse engineering how the average American worker pays for the lifestyle they publicly display. Once you see it clearly, the whole office looks different. The BMW in the parking lot. The kitchen renovation. The designer bag. None of it means what you have been conditioned to think it means. This is not a budgeting story. It is a story about a collective illusion with a bill that is coming due. Let Root unpack that Goldman stat properly because it is the foundation for everything else here. 40% of $300,000 earners living paycheck to paycheck, not a small fringe, nearly half. And here is the part that should genuinely alarm you: that rate is actually higher than people earning $100,000 to $200,000 a year, where it sits closer to 25%. So as income climbs, financial stress does not fall. It rises. That makes zero sense until you understand what is actually happening underneath. Your first reaction is probably the same as Root's was: these people are lying, or delusional, or performing complaints for sport. But Goldman asked why, and the answer they got was lifestyle creep. Luxuries became necessities. Every raise got spent. Every bonus became a lease. Every windfall became a vacation. Over and over until the math on $300,000 a year looks functionally identical to the math on $60,000 a year. Stressful, tight, and quietly hopeless. Root is not pretending to be above this. Root has done the kitchen math. Root has looked at a coworker's car and wondered what Root was doing wrong. Everyone has. That is what makes the illusion so effective. It works on intelligent people too. A Bank of America study from late 2025 found that roughly 1 in 5 households earning over $150,000 show behavioral signs of living paycheck to paycheck. Nearly every dollar in is already spoken for before it arrives. Bankrate's 2025 data showed that 59% of all Americans could not cover a $1,000 emergency from savings. 27% of American adults have literally zero emergency savings, the highest figure since 2020. So here is what is actually happening in your office. Call him Greg. When Greg tells you about the renovation and the trip in his wife's SUV, there is a real chance Greg would completely spiral if his dishwasher broke next Tuesday. The watch, the car, the vacation, none of that proves Greg has money. It proves Greg spent money. Two completely different things, and our entire culture has spent decades convincing us they are identical. This is the single most important thing to internalize before anything else in this video makes sense. Looking wealthy and being wealthy have almost nothing to do with each other. In fact, they are frequently inversely correlated. The Ramsey Solutions Millionaire Study, the largest behavioral research project on actual American millionaires ever conducted, found that the average millionaire drives a 4-year-old car with around 41,000 miles on it. Not a G-Wagon. A 4-year-old Honda Pilot that has seen one family road trip and a lot of school pickups. Meanwhile, Greg is leasing a BMW X5 for close to $1,000 a month to look like what he imagines a millionaire looks like. He is not. He is just broke in a nicer jacket. How is Greg pulling this off month after month? The short answer is debt. The longer answer is more interesting because the debt has gotten creative. Let Root walk through the scaffolding one layer at a time. Layer 1, credit cards. As of Q4 2025, Americans are collectively carrying $1.28 trillion in credit card debt. That is AT as in trillion. Total household debt in the country now sits at $18.8 trillion, the highest in recorded history. The average credit card APR is approximately 21.5%. The average balance for someone carrying debt is $7,886. And 47% of cardholders now carry a balance month to month, up from 39% just 4 years earlier. The darkest number in all of this, 23% of people with credit card debt believe they will never get out. They have surrendered. They are paying 21% interest indefinitely. Layer 2, buy now, pay later. This is the stealth weapon, and it is everywhere. Klarna, Afterpay, Affirm. It does not appear on your credit report the same way a traditional loan does, which is exactly why nobody knows their coworker is using it. In 2025, LendingTree found that 25% of BNPL users were using it to purchase groceries, up from 14% the previous year. But here is the part nobody discusses openly: 32% of BNPL users earning over $100,000 a year use it to bridge to their next paycheck. That is the highest rate of any income group. The highest earners are the most dependent on what is effectively payday loan-style financing for basic daily living. When you see those festival photos on social media, a significant number of those people are still paying for the ticket well into the fall. 47% of BNPL users admitted to paying late at least once in the past year. 63% are running multiple BNPL loans simultaneously, a miniature portfolio of lifestyle debt managed on a phone. Layer 3, the auto loan. This is Greg's preferred layer. The average new car payment in America hit $772 per month in Q4 2025, an all-time record. But the real signal is this: 20.3% of new car buyers, 1 in 5, are signing for payments of $1,000 or more per month. Also a record. And 29.3% of trade-ins are underwater, meaning the buyer owes more on the old vehicle than it is currently worth. With average negative equity sitting at $7,214, they roll that loss directly into the new 84-month loan. 7 years. They will be paying off a car that is older than most middle schoolers by the time it is done. The luxury vehicles you see in the parking lot? Between 70 and 75% of new Mercedes, BMWs, Audis, and Porsches in America are leased, not purchased. For German luxury EVs specifically, that figure is 93%. Greg does not own the BMW. Greg is renting the BMW. In 3 years, BMW Financial takes it back and Greg signs up for the next one. It is an endless subscription to the feeling of driving a BMW. So the scaffolding looks like this: credit cards on the bottom, buy now pay later in the middle, a stretched auto loan on top, and a thin coat of paint over all of it. The BMW in the lot tomorrow is not Greg's BMW. It is BMW Financial's BMW. Greg is just covering the rent. Now here is where it gets genuinely strange, because everything described so far could be dismissed as self-inflicted. Bad choices, reckless loans, vibes over math. But the next layer is not even their own money. Savings.com ran their 2025 study on parental financial transfers, and the numbers are striking. 50% of parents with adult children over 18 are sending their adult kids money on a regular basis. The average amount, $1,474 per month. That is almost $18,000 per year per adult child. For Gen Z adults between 18 and 28, the figure jumps to $1,813 per month. For millennials aged 29 to 44, it is still $863 per month. Yes, there are 40-year-olds receiving a consistent monthly transfer from their parents that never shows up on a pay stub. Savings.com also found that parents currently in the workforce are giving 2.3 times more money to their adult children than they are contributing to their own retirement accounts. So that coworker whose lifestyle makes zero mathematical sense on her salary, there is a genuine possibility the math is being completed somewhere else entirely. Pew Research found that 44% of adults between 18 and 34 received financial help from their parents in the past 12 months. The National Association of Realtors reported that 22% of first-time homebuyers in 2025 used family money for their down payment. Redfin's 2024 data was even more direct: 36% of Gen Z and millennial buyers who plan to purchase soon expect a cash gift from their parents, up from 18% in 2019. And underneath all of that sits what analysts are calling the Great Wealth Transfer. Cerulli Associates updated their forecast in late 2024 to $124 trillion, up from the $84 trillion figure that had been circulating for years. That is $124 trillion moving from boomers to their children and grandchildren over the next 2 decades. Here is the part that matters for your office specifically: roughly half of that, $62 trillion, is coming from just 2% of households. Inheritance is not evenly distributed. Most of it concentrates in a very small number of people. And those people then look, in the parking lot and the office kitchen, like everyone else, except their math works because someone else completed it for them. So when you are standing next to Brenda at the coffee machine doing the math in your head, remember, she may not be outperforming you financially. She may simply be running the same race with a completely different starting position. You trained for the full marathon. She got dropped off at mile 22 in a rideshare. Both of you crossed the finish line. Only one of you actually ran. And Greg, there is a real chance Greg's mom is sending him $800 a month that never comes up at lunch. That BMW is not just rented from the bank. It is partially co-signed by generational wealth he will never mention. Here is the one your coworker will never discuss over lunch. If they did not inherit anything and they are not visibly drowning in debt, there is a third possibility worth understanding: they are working significantly more than you think. The Bureau of Labor Statistics released a notable data point in November 2025: over 9.3 million Americans were simultaneously holding multiple jobs. The highest raw number ever recorded since tracking began in 1994. That is 5.7% of all employed Americans, the highest share in 25 years. Half of these multi-job holders have a college degree. This is no longer a college student survival strategy. It is a fully credentialed, salaried 34-year-old strategy. Bankrate found that 36% of American adults had a side hustle in 2024. And 41% of those side hustlers used the income for discretionary spending, vacations, dinners, new clothes, not survival. So when that coworker casually drops $600 on a weekend trip, that money may not have come from her primary salary at all. It may have come from the Etsy store, the Saturday delivery shifts, or the freelance contracts she never mentions at work. And then there is the modern phenomenon of overemployment. A 2023 Resume Builders survey of fully remote workers found that 79% had secretly held 2 or more remote jobs in the previous year. 36% were actively doing it at the time of the survey. 34% were earning over $100,000 combined. Fortune profiled workers in August 2025 holding 3, 4, even 5 simultaneous remote jobs, pulling in $725,000 per year by using AI tools to meet every deadline across all of them. Consider this: you think you share an office with 40 colleagues. Statistically, some of them may be on a Zoom call for a completely different employer at the same moment. Greg's long bathroom break might be a stand-up meeting for his second full-time job. The camera is off for a reason. When you run envy math on your coworker's life, you may be comparing your one income to their hidden two. You are racing honestly. He slipped an e-bike and a GPS tracker into his kit and still looks exhausted by 3 p.m. because he genuinely is. Let Root offer one more reframe before getting to what you should actually do with all of this. The visible things your coworker owns, the watch, the handbag, the car, the renovation, are not wealth. They are almost by design the precise opposite of wealth. They are wealth's understudies. In economics, this is related to the concept of conspicuous consumption. A 2010 study in the Journal of Marketing found something that reframes the entire conversation. The wealthiest consumers consistently prefer luxury goods with quiet, subtle branding, small logos, understated design. Meanwhile, the people spending the highest percentage of their income on luxury tend to buy the loudest, most visibly branded versions regardless of their actual net worth. The louder the logo, the less money is typically behind it. Real money whispers. Performed money announces itself at every intersection. Picture 2 men at dinner. One is in a plain cashmere sweater with no visible logo, wearing a quiet watch, driving a 5-year-old Lexus. He has $4 million. 3 tables over, there is someone in a loud designer belt, an oversized branded watch, a Range Rover Sport parked directly in front. He has $12,000 in checking and a home equity line of credit nobody knows about. Both of them are performing something. Only one of them is performing actual wealth. The other is performing the performance of wealth. The numbers back this up clearly. The Hermes Birkin, long marketed as the ultimate investment accessory, dropped in resale premium from 2.2 times retail in 2022 to just 1.4 times in late 2025. Rolex prices on the secondary market are down more than 15% from their 2022 peak. Patek Philippe Nautilus models fell roughly 30% in a single year. If you had put $10,000 into a Birkin 10 years ago, it would be worth approximately $19,000 today. If you had put that same $10,000 into an SP 500 index fund, it would be worth between $30,000 and $40,000. The stock market quietly and without any fanfare outperformed the luxury investment piece. Nobody is making viral content about that because nobody profits from telling you. The subscription drain is running quietly in the background too. CR research found that Americans estimate they spend about $86 per month on subscriptions. The actual number is $219. That is a $1,600 annual blind spot. 42% of people are paying for subscriptions they have completely forgotten about. Your coworker is not just managing a car payment. He is also being slowly drained by 6 streaming services, 2 fitness apps, and a meditation application he has not opened since 2022. So when you look at your coworker's life and feel that familiar sinking feeling, remember what you are actually looking at. A stage set. Props rented from various lenders. A costume on a 4-year payment plan. And a person who genuinely cannot afford to take a Tuesday off. Here is where this leaves you, hopefully in a clearer, calmer place than where you started. Nobody at the office is going to say this out loud, so Root will. You are not behind. You are not doing it wrong. The people you assume are winning are largely performing an extremely expensive play, and the ticket price is their entire financial future. Remember the 40% of $300,000 earners living paycheck to paycheck? Those are the people whose lifestyle you have been comparing yourself to. That is the finish line you have been sprinting toward. That is the trap. Real wealth in America looks almost boring by comparison. The Ramsey Millionaire study of over 10,000 actual millionaires found that 79% received zero inheritance. 33% never earned 6 figures in a single year across their entire career. The top 5 occupations of American millionaires: engineer, accountant, teacher, manager, and attorney. Teacher made the top 5. Not surgeon. Not venture capitalist. Teacher. 8 out of 10 invested consistently in their workplace 401k. 94% consistently spent less than they earned. Roughly 3/4 had never carried a credit card balance in their lives. They drove paid-off Toyotas. They lived in modest homes. They were not on social media performing a lifestyle. And here is the number that should reframe every parking lot you ever walk through again. If you take the current average new car payment of $772 per month and instead of making that payment you invest that same amount from age 25 to 65 at historical market returns, you end up with over $6 million. $6 million. That is the precise financial difference between the coworker leasing the BMW and the quiet coworker driving the 2019 Camry. Same salary. Different car. Completely different retirement outcome. One of them is performing wealth right now. The other is quietly building it. So the next time Greg walks into the office kitchen with a new watch and a designer coffee, do not spiral. Do not compete. Do not open your banking app in a quiet panic. Just smile, nod, and go automate your retirement contribution. Pay down whatever balance is quietly eating your future. Keep driving your car until the wheels genuinely give out. Because in 15 years, when the music stops and the loans come due and the parental transfers dry up, the person you spent years envying is going to find you at a different coffee machine and quietly ask how you pulled it off. That is the ugly truth about how your coworkers afford their lifestyles. Most of them do not. You just cannot see the bill yet.